feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me. And what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan, your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the fucking hours it takes to get some power. Don't be fucking sour, take a cold shower. Scream until you're louder, work until you're prouder. And fuck all the doubters, they're just fucking downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm pissed off at these fucking clowns who were all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. Let's go. I'm just telling you to fight for your dreams, but it's not what it seems. Man, it's hard to be seen when everybody wants to be king. Yeah, they all wanna ring, yeah, we all wanna be free. So show me what you got, what you bring, how you fight in the ring, how you take a fucking swing. Do you got heart, are you mean? Got some scars, got some needs, are you willing to go bleed? I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm pissed off at these fucking clowns who were all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm pissed off at these fucking clowns who were all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown.
Alright, we're back again for another video on Dazza's car, his VNSS, and a little bit about himself. We've done this once before, but here we are again, unfortunately. We had some bad luck, but with the footage getting lost. But anyway, I want to kick it off with where it all started, who you are, where you're from, where you've been. All that sort of stuff. Like, what got you into cars or whatever?
First sort of memory of that would be Dad. My dad's a bit of a petrol head, and when I was a kid, he had a XC Falcon 500. So an XC Falcon 500 is basically almost an X-Taxi, but he had a set of jelly bean mags on it, 250 in it. I remember him and the neighbour next door put a hotted up 250 in it, and they used the swing set in the backyard with the block and tackle on it and do that. I remember that, but as I said, by no means it was no tough street machine, but it went all right.
Yeah.
I remember as a kid being in the back seat with another family friend's son who's the same age as me, and his dad was in the car, and we went somewhere to get something one night, and the new motor was in the car, and Dad said to the family friend about how good it goes. So Dad floored it down the main street of Benalla and past a service station, had a police car parked out the back of the radar. So it wasn't long after that, past the service station, the blue and red flashing lights were behind us. And Dad zipped down the side street and told us all quick, get out of the car, and went and hid behind the bushes. So I remember watching Dad wash that car when I was a kid and saying, like, you know, if anything ever happens to you, Dad, do I get your car?
Yeah.
And that was a Ford. Yeah, I was raised on Fords.
Yeah. And you've ended up with Holden.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah.
Like we've always said, but like, I think the Ford Holden rivalry's always been there for what it was, but nowadays you just got to appreciate everything for what it is. Like,
mate, I'm not biased.
No.
I don't care what badge it's got on it, mate.
Yeah.
A tough car, a cool car,
Yep.
a nice car. It's a car. Who cares?
I suppose like what you're saying with your old man, like, did you see him like caring for something, you know, and putting a lot of time?
Oh yeah, mate.
Like that's like a passion, you know, like
mate, like those jelly bean mags. I think my best memory of watching him wash his car was a tube of Autosol.
Yeah, right.
And polishing those mags, you know, like yeah. I said, and even after that car, years later, he ended up with there's an old X-Interceptor XD, orange, 351, top loader, 9-inch, tough car. That was after him and Mum split up.
Yep.
But I remember, you know, I actually borrowed that car off him and I rode it off. So I definitely remember that car. But Dad always took me to the drags when I was a kid.
Yep.
Heathcote Park was massive when I was growing up. Spent a lot of time there watching drags back in the 80s and stuff.
So you were obviously brought up down in Mexico or Victoria.
Yep, Victorian.
Everyone knows we're up in Queensland at the moment.
Yep,
so.
I'm a Queenslander now.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, definitely spent a lot of time at Heathcote Park. I love drag racing. I guess that's where that whole tough sort of car comes into it, drag racing, I think.
And growing up down there, just as someone from up here my whole life, you know, you see, back then we didn't have the internet, you know, it was always Street Machine or, you know, Street Commodore Mag or, you know, it was all magazines and stuff that you sort of seen for a video, and all the cars were always down south, all the big tough ones. You get the occasional ones up here, so I think that's inspired a lot of people, a lot of older generational people, I suppose, in their late 30s, early 40s and onwards, up this way to get that tough street car look, you know, like,
yeah,
you know, every car down there at the moment's got 10 or 12-inch wide tyres on the back and full of tubs and, you know, Weld wheels and Simmons, and, you know, for yourself up here, it's only sort of, it's happening. There's a lot more cars doing it, but it's just the scene 10 years behind up here all the time.
Yeah, everyone's always said that about being this far north.
Yeah.
You're way behind, but
so I think
I don't think so now, though.
Definitely not. No.
Not now.
No, we've definitely
caught up.
Oh, yeah. There are some very high-end cars up this way, but so, all right, after you grew up a little bit, you started doing a bit of work, and
yeah.
What was your first car?
Held down several jobs as a young fella. Originally just wanted to have money, but always wanted to have a nice car. So I think when I was 17, I bought a VH, stock VH SL, had a 179 in it.
Yep.
And I actually sold my really good racing push bike that I had to put a set of mags on it. And they were a set of 14-inch Momo copies. So just your stars, like off your VL Group A.
Yep.
But I did everything to that car to make it a SLE replica. So put the tail light extensions on it, bumper extensions, slammed it on the ground. And then a mate, there was a panel beater, had a fairly warm 202 out of his old Trana. We put that in it. So it was 202 cam and stuff, extractors, going to 5-speed and that. And that was good fun for a long time.
Yep.
Learned how to drive in that. And then from that, what did I do then? I traded that in on a Series 1 VL Calais Turbo.
Yep.
So that's when the whole thirst for power really started. 6-cylinder turbo Nissan motor in a Commodore.
So where did the transition go from growing up around Fords to buying Holden?
I don't know. I think the VH was in a Toyota dealership in Benalla, and I was left school one day, went down the street for lunch, and I was walking back to school, and it was just in a lot. So I went in and asked him about it, and because I was young, a kid,
yeah,
I just pretty much got brushed aside. But funny thing was, my grandfather was friends with the owner of that Toyota dealership, and I went and told him, I like this car there, and they didn't give me the time of day, so he said, jump in the car, and we went down, and
yep.
Pop basically said to Max that owned the Toyota dealership, what do you want for that brown VH out there? And he said, I don't know, Jack, for you, give us $3,000. So my grandfather said, have you got $3,000? I said, I don't, I've got $2,000. So he lent me $1,000, and I ended up with that car and paid him back. And
yep.
I actually don't even know what the transition was from growing up in a Ford family to end up with a Holden.
Yep.
I was Dick Johnson, Bathurst, V8 Supercars, Dick Johnson. Peter Brock was the enemy.
Yep. So you just woke up one day and thought you'd come to the right side.
Yes. I moved from the dark side. And the funny thing is, like I said, you look in my cabinets down the back there, and there's like 2 Dick Johnson cars and a lot of Brock cars.
Yep.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm not anti-Ford, but I'm just not a Ford person.
Yeah. So you said you bought a VL Turbo Calais. We all know you're a big Summernats fan. Is that the one you took? Did you take that one to Summernats?
Yeah, that went to Summernats a few times.
Yeah.
I had so it's funny, when I test drove that car, it was raining. It was in Melbourne. It was raining, so you couldn't really drive it properly. But I wanted it because it was a VL Calais.
Yeah.
And it was a turbo. So when I went and picked the car up, I said the VH with the 202 in it was very stout. It went really good. It blew off many 253 and stuff back in the day. So when I went and actually did the transition and the VH got dropped and left, and I got in the VL and drove it home, I was disappointed. It was gutless.
Really?
It was not what I thought it should be. So when I test drove it in the rain, you couldn't.
No traction.
Everything feels like it's got 1,000 horsepower.
Yeah.
So anyway, I got that car, and I was happy. I was happy with the fact it was so luxurious. Power windows and air and just everything. It was nice. So what did it do? We blew the gearbox up in it, and I found a guy in Melbourne to build a gearbox for me, and he's basically said, "What's your plans for the car?" I said, "Well, I don't want to leave it how it is." And he said, "Well, what are you going to do with it?" And I said, "Oh, I'm going to take it to AVO." So back in the day, AVO was the mob. And he said, "I've got a mate that's getting into doing these. If I give you his number, would you go and talk to him?" I said, "No worries." So I did that, and it was Simon Gishish that owned Nisbro.
Yep, right.
So I went and spoke to him and spent half a day with him, which was awesome. And he really showed me the light, and I went with him with an engine package, and that was it was a lot. It was head, cam, big intercooler. Back then it was a T3, T4 hybrid turbo. Went really well. And then it went back there, had a full forged bottom end built. Did a lot with that car. Went really well back in the day. It ran 12, I think it was 12.1.
Yep.
Back then at Calder. And the quickest VL turbo back then was running 11.9s.
Yep.
So it wasn't much off the pace.
No.
I think the difference was the quickest VL turbo was an executive. Mine was a Calais.
Yeah, right.
So weight.
Yeah, right. I know you've said before, like, at one stage you were planning on taking it to Summernats to try and take out 6-cylinder horsepower hero, weren't
So
you?
the year I tried to enter Summernats with that car, I got refused entry because the car didn't have enough modifications,
Yeah,
apparently.
yeah. It just looked like a lowered VL.
It was a lowered VL.
But it was all under the bonnet.
Everything was, power-wise. So that year, the car that won forced induction 6-cylinder class, my car had made more power on the dyno in Melbourne that year on a not a soft tune, but a run-in tune.
Yeah.
So that was disappointing. Very disappointing. It would, yeah. Like I said, I probably wouldn't have entered the dyno class at Summernats with the car. I didn't build it for that.
Yep.
But to know it got refused entry back in the day when Summernats used to be a little bit more look at cars more and not just let anything in.
Yes.
Well, he said it was a standard white on white VL Calais turbo. I think at that stage too, I don't even know if I had the rims on it. It might have even still been on just polished Calais rims. I can't remember.
But see, you fast forward the clock to now and you see a white on white VL Calais with polished Calais rims and people froth on it because everyone cut everything to pieces and so
yeah.
But there is a line that at the moment I've noticed with the last few years going to Summernats, some of the stuff you see in there, you're like, really?
They could be way more selective with what they put in.
I don't know.
Like I said, the way I look at it, man, is way back then, and we're talking way back then, we're talking 18 years ago.
Well, you're showing your age now, mate.
No one cared if they hurt my feelings by telling me that my car didn't make the cut. But like I said, I was disappointed. I felt my car deserved to be there.
Yeah.
But
they didn't care.
They didn't care.
Yeah.
So why care now?
Yep.
But that could have still been the same year too that Summernats was held over New Year's Eve, where actually on New Year's Eve that night there was no security on the gate, and I drove through the entrance gate and ripped a massive skid in front of our camp in my car. So
you got in one way or another.
Yeah, that's it. It was in one way or another. Like I said, it probably wouldn't have been on the dyno, but it wouldn't have been in a burnout comp either. But it did a burnout.
Nice. Well, moving forward after the VL, what come after that was the van sort of around there. I know you've probably had a multiple of cars, but
no. After the VL, God, I can't even remember now. No, after the VL, I moved to Melbourne. The VL got rear-ended at Spring Nats in Shepparton one year. And I pulled it off the road to do a big rebuild on it, massive rebuild. It's painted orange, believe it or not. But I moved to Melbourne and I took the car to Melbourne in pieces. It was painted and everything. It was in pieces and it sat in my shed for ages, and I just got other interests in life. Cars wasn't one of them.
Yep.
And I bought a VC SLE, genuine VC SLE, Tiffany blue.
Mm-hmm.
Walkies on it, 253. Drove that for a while. Broke a rocker. Drove it with a broken rocker for a while on 7 cylinders. And I acquired a 308. So I pulled the 253, had the 308. I bought a set of VN heads, VN manifold and everything. I was going to build 308, put injection on it.
Yep.
Same deal. I got quarter of the way into doing that, and I moved up here to Mackay.
Yeah.
So the SLE got sold off as a roller. All my other stuff got sold because it was too hard to get it all up here. The VL, which was painted and everything, motor was in pieces but ready to go back together. It all sat at a mate's house in Melbourne for ages. I had no way of getting it here to Mackay. I had nowhere to put it. And I just sold it. Offloaded it.
Shit happens. Life happens.
For not enough money.
Oh, of course.
But that's when the VN come along then. So I'd been living up here in Mackay for almost a year, maybe 8, 9, 10 months. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And I was just in the pocket trader. I almost bought a VN SS in Melbourne before I moved up.
Yeah.
And they wanted, it was about 15 grand for it. For a
Fair bit of money
VN SS back then is a lot of money. It had a fresh paint job. It didn't have any SS stickers on it. And it was on, I can't remember what rims it was on. It was on rims. I could have got it cheaper without the rims. But because I knew I was moving here and I was coming up here to no work, I didn't buy it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was going through the pocket trader one day and this thing popped up. And cheap. And went and looked at it and bought it straight away. Had the money, paid cash.
Yep.
It's good.
So for everyone that's wondering, it is a genuine factory white VN SS.
91 model.
Yep.
White SS. Yep.
And then you've gone and done all this to it.
Gone and done this to it. Gone and ruined it and painted it orange.
That's all right.
Nah.
I wouldn't say you ruined it.
No, it's pretty hard to look at it now and see it be any other way, but I wish I'd done that to an executive or something.
Yeah.
I bought a white VNSS because I wanted a white VNSS.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went and painted orange and put SV89 bumpers on it and stuff. But anyway, it's still got an SS badge on the dash.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still a genuine SS. So.
Yeah.
Well,
the plates show it's still a genuine SS and stuff.
Yeah. Well, we might as well dive into this thing. So you've purchased the white VNSS and driven it around, and you wanted to make some changes to it, obviously.
Again, same as the VL, blew the gearbox up.
Yeah. Trust the old Turbo 700, I guess.
Yep. Yep, the 700 let go overnight in the shed. We, me and a mate, I put new shockies and everything in it one night. Took it for a test drive. Yep, nah, all good. Got it the next day and drove it. It had no third and fourth gear. I think it was third and fourth.
Mm-hmm.
So when we pulled the gearbox out, usual story. The gearbox wouldn't come out. One bell housing bolt was seized in the block. So we pulled the motor. While the motor's out, that's when I met Benji. And he's like, oh, let's hide all the wiring. That turned into filling all the holes in the engine bay, relocating the battery, hiding wiring. Well, let's paint it. It was going to get painted white. Then I seen an XR5 Focus pull up next to me at the lights. It was this colour.
Yep.
I love orange.
Yeah.
So let's paint it orange. So we painted orange.
Painted it orange and didn't just change the gearbox by the looks of it. So I reckon...
I got to go for a piss.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. You can edit that.
You bloody old man, bloody.
Edit that. You edit that out. I told you if I broke the fucking seal.
I told you I might edit it out. I might not.
You better edit that.
You know I won't.
2 hours later.
Righto.
All right, we're back from the old man fucking old man bloody piss break.
Yeah. No, so yeah, the gearbox was stuffed. So I originally was just going to build a nice, mild, streetable 355.
Yeah.
And I looked into that for about 5 minutes and thought everyone's doing that. Let's do something different. Not many people were doing 383s because there was issues with cooling and cutting too close, cutting into water jackets, yada, yada. And I just basically thought, well, you know, if doing a 383 wasn't a thing, then they wouldn't have invented it. So I just went with it. I ordered a kit from Pro Stroke back in the day. So when I grew up, Pro Stroke was...
I remember seeing Pro Stroke.
Pro Stroke were the bomb. Come were coming into it, but Pro Stroke had been around a really long time. When I lived in Yea, when I had the when I bought the VL, I remember talking to a guy back then, and he'd put a stroker kit through his throw. It was Pro Stroke and all that because that's who it was.
Yeah.
So I bought a kit through them, and again, I didn't. They had 3 different categories. They had street race, full race.
Mm-hmm.
I went street race. I don't know why. So I bought that kit, and I got the engine built from a guy in Townsville through a mate that I grew up with in Benalla that was living in Townsville. And I said I didn't really know what I wanted, what I was doing. I just basically said, this is what I want, build it for me. So my request was minimum 500 horsepower, angry as it can be. So like I said, I want a big cam. So the motor got built, it came home, we painted it, put it in the car. It didn't even start, it had to do wiring and everything like that. And that's, I always knew Peter Rosso through work, but then he come and worked where I was working. We were having a beer one day and just got talking about the car and the motor, and he said, so what have you done to it? And I said, I'll bring the paperwork in. I gave him the paperwork, and he looked at it and he read through it, and nah. So what's wrong? He goes, so what do you want this to make? I said, 500. He goes, it'll make 500 for about 30 seconds, and then you'll build another motor. I said, what do you mean? He goes, it's all done wrong. He said it's externally balanced. They haven't done 4-bolt mains. I don't feel like I got ripped off by the guy in Townsville, but I don't know. I guess at the end of the day, you got those guys that can give you reliable horsepower and the ones that will just give you horsepower.
Yeah.
At whatever cost, they don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll make it. Don't know how long for.
Yeah.
And that's what I got. So I said, what do I do? And he goes, well, how bad do you want what you want? I said, well, I didn't ask for it for no reason. And he said, well, let's pull it apart and start again.
Yeah.
So,
which everyone knows is a very big setback, and more reasons than just the car, like family wise, financially wise, like that's a big kick in the balls.
It wasn't so bad then. I was single. I didn't have mortgage, all that, so no kids and everything. So it wasn't so bad. I didn't care.
What took you so long then?
The mortgage and kids come along after all that. No, like I said, it didn't matter then. So I pulled the motor out, gave it to him, pulled it apart, and he said, a lot of the gear you've got in here is good gear. Mm-hmm. I can use this in another motor I'm building for another guy. What you've got's exactly what he's after. So that was good. We on-sold that stuff to him naturally for like sort of trade price. And we started again and just sort of went to town on it more with what he did, big time. It's like I said, it's 4-bolt, priority oiling. It's basically got everything done to it now that 5 litres back in the day didn't have it, made them fail.
Yeah.
So basically your oil recovery and everything like that, mm-hmm. it pumps bulk oil into your mains. It gets it back to the sump good. I concentrated on making it want to live. So that's what he said. He goes, that's where 5 litres failed back in the day. They could pull big revs, but they couldn't get the oil back to the sump, and they starved of oil, and that was it. Yeah. So I didn't want that. I said the cam in it's built to rev to nearly $8,000. So 7, 8. So yeah, priority oiling. He takes the bypass out of your oil pump, so everything goes through oil filter. With a 308, once they hit, I can't remember how many revs he said it was, it bypasses your filter.
Yeah.
So you hold a 308 on peak revs for an extended period of time, that oil's bypassing your filter.
Mm-hmm.
Can't be good. Well, it's proven it wasn't good.
No.
So the combination's good.
Still cast headed?
Yep,
Yeah.
for now.
Yeah. I know you've got some future plans for it, but we'll focus on what's in it for now. You've got a pretty rare intake manifold on it, as if anyone has half an idea about the Flowcraft.
It wasn't even Flowcraft, it was Motec originally.
Ah, there you go.
So Motec, they built that manifold for him when 5 litre was your V8 in Australia.
Yeah.
And then when the LS thing happened, and everyone went LS crazy, Motec jumped on board with that and stopped doing the manifold. Eugene, that owns Flowcraft, got onto Motec and said, would you be interested in selling the patent of your manifold? And they did.
Mm-hmm.
So he bought the patent for it, and I think he only ran off about 10 of those manifolds through he did a few tweaks to it apparently. But I come across that one. I knew about the manifolds back in the day and liked them way back when.
Yeah.
And when I was building the car, I wanted to keep everything under bonnet for that whole. I didn't want to get hassled.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of, I wanted something that was tough and angry and didn't have shit hanging out of the bonnet everywhere.
Yeah.
Just, again, to be different. And I just having a few drinks at home one night and on the old eBay and typed in twin throttle body manifold. Oh yeah, Holden twin throttle body manifold, I think I typed in, and scrolling through, and your cum ones were coming up, your active ones,
Yep.
yada yada, and Flowcraft twin throttle body manifold come up. And like, I know what they were worth back then, and it was cheap. It was auction.
Yeah.
No one had bid on it. They had a day to go on the bid, and I waited right to the end, put a bid on it, bang, won it. Cheap.
Yep.
So it rocked up in pieces. I put it all together, made sure it was all good. When Rosso was building the motor, so when the motor was originally built, the guy in Townsville glued the manifold on. He didn't even bother machine it. He just took up all the play in it with glue. Rosso machined it properly, like decked everything, got it all right. And then I sent it away, got it full HPC coated, and
Yep.
made it look nice. And
Yeah, it does look good.
it does. I love the
It
manifold.
looks really good.
It
It's a really nice looking engine bay, to be honest.
It's a shame the manifold just doesn't work with the rest of the motor.
Yeah. No. It's all right. On the bigger and better things, I suppose. But
Yeah. So like I said, the manifold on the dyno, the cam's built to rev to 7.8. It's not. It stopped making power at 6.5,
yeah.
and that's purely because of the manifold.
Yeah.
We could do some work to the manifold. We could extrude hone the runners. We could extrude hone where the throttle bodies go, put bigger throttle bodies on it, yada yada.
Yep.
But I'm past that whole under bonnet. I think I'm ready to have shit out of the bonnet.
Mm.
I've seen you get away with it for years, and others,
Yeah.
so it's doable.
Anything's legal if you got the balls, I suppose. I wouldn't say the balls.
Oh, it's not even that.
The stupidity.
It's not even that. I think everything's okay as long as you treat the situation right, time and place.
Yeah. And like, touch wood, you know, the police we got up here,
They're good.
they don't hassle us. If you're not doing the wrong thing,
That's what I mean.
they they've driven like we know people with friggin' 671s hanging
Yep.
out of the bonnet.
We
twin
do, Luke.
carbies, and
We do.
you know the cops drive past and barely batter an eyelid at them. Exhaust dumped at the diff, and
Yep.
no mufflers on it, and just loud as.
But like I said, I've always said there's a time and a place for everything. Like I said, my VL was a fast car in Benalla.
Yeah.
Nothing beat it for a long time. And when something did beat it, I had a busted accelerator cable that I'd put a splint on.
Yeah.
And sticky taped it to try and make it work, and it didn't. But I had friends in stock standard EA Falcons losing their licenses for speeding or doing burnouts.
Yeah.
How do you keep your license? Time and place.
Yeah.
I don't do it down the main street of town in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
I go out the road and have fun.
Or leaving car meets.
Or leaving car meets. You don't do it leaving car meets. Especially in a full drive. But no, like I said, I think since you've had the True Street Cars thing going and seeing what we see, there's a lot of cars with stuff out the bonnet, air cleaners, blowers, and they get away just fine because they don't be dicks in the wrong spot.
Yeah, I personally agree with that 100%.
They do it elsewhere.
Yeah.
Like on the cruise route at Summernats when you're leaving.
Yeah. I don't know who you're talking about there.
But no.
Right, so she's a 383 cast iron headed twin throttle body.
Yep.
You've got like vac pump setup and
vac pump.
Astra power steering.
Astra power steering.
Yep.
Craig's built turbo 400.
Yep.
1,000 horsepower rated.
What size converter?
$5,000.
Yep.
Dominator. 9-inch. 411s. Bagged. Big brakes. Yeah. Fuel cell in the boot. Surge tank. Batteries in the boot.
Split tub. You said that?
Yeah, it's mini, but when I minied it, I didn't do it right.
Yeah.
I wanted.
You still got a good size wheel under it.
Yeah, but there's room.
Yeah.
So if you have a look under it, when we mini tubbed it, or the guys that did it, I bought the rims, bought the tyres, and told them I built the tubs around the tyres. They did that. They actually haven't even gone right into the chassis rail. There's room to go further.
Yep.
And I wish they did because it actually does scrape on the tub on the inner.
Yeah, right.
So there's plans to redo the tubs.
Yeah.
It's got a Watts link in it.
Yep.
So when you air it out, everything stays central.
Yeah.
That all works good.
Nice.
Yeah, we used the standard tub, cut it, moved it, put a piece in it. I wish I just said do full fab tubs.
Yeah. Yes,
but that's, mate, again, that's
what you were doing at the time.
I did that
when you popped the boot.
I did that 13 years ago.
Yeah.
And I did too. When I built the car, I had that whole. I didn't want to get hassled. To the untrained eye, I wanted to look reasonably standard.
Yeah.
So even the airbag thing happened later because when we did the rear end, airbags were illegal in Queensland, and then that law changed. What was down to get mini tubs. So I was just going to do a coilover.
Yep.
So when that law changed, that changed the bag in it.
Yeah.
So I bagged it all around.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Not every day you see the old VN rolling in and drop it down.
No, it's a head turner.
Yeah, definitely.
You see a lot of people, I see when it's aired out and you lift it up to ride, they all point.
Yeah.
I think they've see it sitting there thinking like, well, how's it roll like that? But
yeah.
But ultimately, how it sits now, that's how I want it to be, ride height. So
it's doable. It's just
watch this space.
Yeah. You got some massive brakes on there too. I see. Like, were they K Sport or were they
K Sport?
Yep.
Yeah. Believe it or not, I only went with K Sport because I like the colour of their calipers.
Are they orange?
They're orange.
Oh,
they're
shit.
anodized.
I wouldn't have guessed.
They're anodized orange, but proven to be a very good brake.
Using your favourite cup here too, by
Yep, that's right. Thought you need a good backdrop. Three. Oh god, what are they? Front's a 356 rotor with 8 piston caliper, and the rears are 330s with 6 piston calipers.
Yeah.
So big.
Yeah. It pulls up when it needs to.
It pulls up. But funny, this year at Summit, the vac pump for the booster stopped working.
Yeah.
So it was all there was no vacuum for the brakes, and had to push the pedal really hard to make it want to pull up.
Yeah.
It was not.
Which isn't a good feeling when you're doing stop start.
Well, yeah. I don't know how I wanted to go a Willwood boosterless setup on it, and I had a lot of people say, "Oh, really hard brake pedal," and I thought, what's the point of going big brakes if you've got to push the pedal really hard to use them? And I even had people say they'd cracked out the mounts in their firewall.
Yeah, right.
Where the master cylinder was mounted from pushing their brake pedal so hard for their brakes to work.
Yeah.
And when you got bigger brakes and a lot of pistons in your calipers, that's a thing.
Yeah.
And like I said, around Sumnats this year when it wasn't working, there was 2 feet on the brake pedal and a bum pushed really hard into the seat.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking about before, you're a big Summer Nuts bloody advocate, and since meeting you the last, freaking how many years ago that was, I've gone down there a few times and you've inspired me. Always, thought about it and seen it growing up and watched the VHSs, and it took me till, I think Summer Nuts 28 was my first one, but it opened my eyes, definitely. And we all know in the car community how helpful and stuff people can be when you see people in desperate times, and just met a lot of great people. Like we've met Craig and Z, and Pinky, and like I've known the Winging It boys like Damo and that. I worked with them 12 years ago, so I've known them for a fair while and hanging out with them, and like I was saying, the camaraderie, and just being around there and knowing people in the camp spot, and I think we spoke about last time, like lining up for the Skid Row, going in Craig's car, and old Pinky lit it up, and then she sheared off the converter bolts, and Craig had made the finals that year, and he
come back. Back to camp with the attitude of me Summer Nats is over.
And it was like, man, we'll get this box out and drill out these studs, and the rod shop helped out and said, here you go, get it back going. I think it was like 2.5 hours. The car was back
ready to go,
lapping around. So
I think it's very rare to go to a show like Summer Nats with a group like we do, and not be able to fix something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
I think most of us there have been very hands-on with building our own cars.
Yeah.
I've definitely learned a lot doing this. I had a lot of help. I learned a lot doing it though.
Yeah,
we
all do.
I feel comfortable that if I did it again, I'd do it different.
Oh yeah.
Big time. But Summer Nats is it's a car show, but it's more it's the group of friends you go there with too makes it what it is.
Yeah, definitely.
If I went to Summer Nats every year, so like I said, I've been lucky. I went to Summer Nats 8 was my first one. I think I only missed about 5 or 6 in between.
Yeah.
I think now though, all those years I went as a spectator with that whole, I just want my own car here. I just want my own car here. And even that year that I went, where I thought my car was going to be there and it wasn't there, and that's when I was friends with Craig and all that. That was one of the first years I went there where I actually camped with guys who were entrants and got to go in a car as with an entrant and cruise and all that.
You got the experience.
Changes everything.
Oh.
I think if I went there with my car on my own, it wouldn't be the same.
Yeah.
It'd be good because you're cruising around Summer Nats. But to go there with your group of friends that have all got their cars there and you all camp together and you are all about the same thing, that makes it. Even like to the point of the road trip to Summernats with your mates with their cars on their trailers, or like Benji driving the Chev.
Yep.
That's
showing off.
That's part of it too, you know, like.
Yeah, Summernats isn't just a 4-day festival.
It's not just a 4-day car show. It's that 4-day car show with your mates.
The whole thing is a couple of weeks, you know, like for people like us that have got to travel so far, like it's not just 4 days, it's almost 3 weeks.
It is. It's for me, it's something like 12-day turnaround, towing down there,
that's right,
doing the show and getting home.
And that's rushing.
Yeah.
But also all the stuff in between that you got to do between now and then, all the prep work and stuff, the mateships and all the work that you get to get doing, and
Oh yeah, but mate, there's a lot of shows on in Australia now. I haven't been to many. Like from what I'm reading, I think Northern Nats I'd like to have a look at.
Yeah,
Northern Nats sounds pretty good.
Yeah,
but yeah, my go-to's Summer Nats, mate. Like, if someone said to me you can only drive your car once a year, pick when that is.
Yeah,
it's pick Summer Nats every time.
It's just after Christmas and New Year's, lad.
It's just something about it. It's
true. I've spoken about this to quite a few people. Like, I've been to quite a few events around the place, and I don't know. Summer Nats is, to me, it's the pinnacle.
Yeah.
There's nothing else like it. A lot of people have got mixed opinions about it. There's stuff you see on the TV that, you know, just make it look and sound like it's silly. Again, it's place and time. If you don't want to be involved in that stuff, you don't have to be there. There's so much other stuff you could be doing.
It's a minority, that causes that shit.
And, you know, me personally, people are like, oh, you know, it's the last year. It's like, I just personally can't see it. Like,
look,
not for the next.
Admittedly, with things being so different in life now, like they are, a lot of the stuff that happens now happened back in the day too.
100%.
We didn't have social media, and we didn't have everyone with a phone with a camera. You know what I mean? Like, you know, believe it or not, Sumnats has toned down.
Oh,
you don't have the titty girls anymore. You don't have the strippers anymore. You don't have the puppy wash anymore. Yeah. Like, they have made it more family friendly. And because now I've got kids like that, I'm okay with that.
Yep.
But at the same time too, if they hadn't made it more family friendly and it was still like it was when I was 18 going to Sumnats 8, 9 and 10, I'd still take my kids there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't care.
No, I would too.
My kids would love it.
Yeah.
I've got boys, you've got girls. Mine would love it. But no,
yeah, I'd be listening out for what colour top they got on. You're staying at camp.
Like I said, it's changed a lot, but it hasn't changed a lot. But a lot of the shit that happens now, it's small shit.
Yeah.
It's not shit that should ruin the show.
No.
But I'll admit, with society the way it is now, I could probably comfortably say the last couple of years with some of the shit that's happened, I've actually felt myself like, that's it.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah.
But they keep...
I don't know. I just...
jumping through hoops.
Yeah, that obviously works.
It's on again next year.
Pumps a lot of money into their economy that time of the year.
I'm going.
Yeah.
Are you?
I will be. Definitely.
Yep.
Even if my car's not ready, I'll be there. So we missed out this start of this year, so that was a mistake. My 18-year-old son went and I didn't go. That was...
I had a seat going.
I know.
There was a spare seat going.
Anyway, won't go there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah.
It's been good to come around and have a chat about it and life and give a bit of an insight of who you are and where you come from and your car. It's been good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's there's things, there's changes going to happen.
Yeah.
A few little things. Like I said, I've still got some stuff I want to do.
Yeah.
It'll never be finished.
We'll leave that for people to see when it comes out and they see it, I suppose. But
Yeah, I'm hoping it's going to happen this year, but this year's going fast.
it is. And life in general is going too fast.
Going really fast.
Yeah, I reckon we'll wrap it up there, man. And getting a bit late. Probably got cold dinner at home, but
Cold shoulder.
yeah, probably that too. But anyway, I suppose I just want to take this opportunity to say thanks for obviously doing this, but thanks for being who you are and supporting us. And
No, that's all right.
you're always on the phone and willing to help and support doing what we're doing and helping us grow as the true street cars, I suppose. But yeah.
Yeah, no, man. Thank you for doing what you do.
Yeah. No,
Like
no
I've said,
dramas.
I think a lot of the purpose I've got for getting the car out is because of what you're doing. Because I felt like if you didn't do what you're doing with the scene in Mackay, I'd just feel like, well, what do I do with the car?
Yeah.
I said it's not one of those cars living, 25 k's out of Mackay. It's not just a car you get in and just drive into Mackay just to drive. You know what I mean? It's uses a bit of fuel and there's a bit in it, and
yeah.
But the other thing is too, like if your events aren't on, you drive into Mackay and what are you doing there with the car?
Yeah.
If other car people aren't around, you drive in, you hang a lap, and you drive home.
That's right.
It just doesn't work. It's just not worth doing.
Yeah. I appreciate it. Anyway.
It's good. Cool as.
Cheers.
All right. Done.